What's going on, my fellow A-plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode. It is I, your Morphinominal host, back once again with another review for our Boom Studios comic books, ladies and gentlemen, as we're about to get into Power Rangers issue number 2 as we continue along with our unlimited power era of Power Rangers, if you will. My best Darth Sidious impression there. But listen, always available first to our patrons, so thank you very much for your support, guys, and then eventually available to our subscribers and new viewers and things like that. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining me here today as we break down the newest comic book from Boom Studios. It is in fact Wednesday, so today was in fact New Comic Book Day. We got the opportunity to run over to my local comic book store, picked up the newest issue of Power Rangers here. A great cover, honestly. I really love the artwork of let's see, Matteo Scalera. Very nice. Congrats on the fantastic cover, by the way, Matteo. What does it say? Mateo is his name. I love that name, Mateo. But yeah, picked it up. If you guys haven't had the opportunity to check out your local comic book store for your issue, definitely go ahead and download it digitally if you can. Comixology.com is a perfect place to go ahead and do that. And no, they don't pay me to say that either. I personally use it myself. It is great, especially if you have like a tablet, a big smartphone, your computer, and things like that if you want to watch it digitally. So Power Rangers issue number 2 did go ahead and drop this week. And I got to tell you, man, Ryan Parrott certainly outdid himself. And I don't mean that in a sense of this particular issue was just like balls to the walls crazy, just insane like storyline ideas that he's come up with. Not really, but I will say this. The concept and the theme of kind of capturing a horror film, if you will, in space, I think Ryan Parrott did a beautiful job, if that's what he was certainly aiming for here this week, guys. So let's go ahead and just kind of break this down. Before we get into the horror elements, 2 things that I definitely want to go ahead and discuss off the top. The first one here is the immediate recognition of how jacked up of a plan Jason's plan was to go ahead and capture Lord Drakkon and steal him, if you will, kidnap him from Zordon, if you will, that we saw in Power Rangers issue number 1. Clearly pissed off Zordon. We even saw the ramifications of Zach's actions playing out in Mighty Morphin issue number 2 that we wind up getting last week, honestly. To see that Zordon was still pretty livid, so much to the point to where he's made them sort of the galaxy's most wanted, the number 1 criminals out there, reaching out to other planets, other allies that if they happen to run across the Omega Rangers, to certainly bring them in. And so we really dive right into that decision making by Jason once you start opening up this comic book here. And it's just interesting to me that the person that's giving him the pushback is in fact their robot in Zai, or however they pronounce it. Zai, Chi, I think they even joke about it in the comic book. But I usually refer to him as Zai. But even Zai kind of questions the idea of, did we have to go that route? Like, I get why you wanted to do it, Jason, right? Like, that's logical. That's a logical explanation. I get why you wanted to do it, but the way of how you went about doing it really just kind of pissed off a lot of people. And it does have Zai sort of even questioning not only Jason's actions, but also the idea of him being the leader of the team, right? I love the fact that Jason's quick to defend himself by saying, hey, the blue emissary kind of picked me for this job. And Zai quickly responds, well, it's not like the blue emissary is God, he is liable to make mistakes and make bad choices, sort of thing. Like, really a low blow to Jason, but I think again another fundamental one for him to at least learn his lesson that, yeah, maybe I should have handled that a lot better. Like, I'm really fascinated to see where this goes in regards to the ramifications. Like, I'm pretty sure we're going to have ourselves another Omega Ranger versus Mighty Morphin sort of fight and showdown between these two teams. But I'm really wondering like what the outcome is going to be, right? Like, what are the ramifications? How are things going to be afterwards? Or has he literally destroyed and burned his bridges with his past allies and Zordon going forward? I will be really fascinated to see if Jason can prove to everybody that at the end of the day, this was a good decision on his part. But we'll see. But Jason is definitely getting it from everybody. Another thing that also kind of jumped out at me Trini continues to grow on me as a character. There is something very, I don't want to say quiet, but there's like a quiet confidence about Trini that I personally really enjoy. I mean, Lord Drakkon even tries to, or I should say Drakkon at this point. He's not really a lord of anything, is he? But Drakkon at this particular point in time is like really just trying to, I don't even say get under her skin, but kind of motivate her to be the leader, if you will, right? To be the one to kind of make those strong decisions and things like that. Really fearing that if she continues to listen to Jason and Zach, they'll probably take her down a path she certainly doesn't want to go. And so for me, I think this is a great opportunity to maybe expand Trini into something more than she has been either in the TV show. And I feel like maybe they've had moments for her in the comic books, but considering the fact that there's really only 3 characters as the main lead for Power Rangers, I really would like to see Trini kind of pushed a little bit more to the forefront, making those decisions. She seems like she's probably the toughest cookie out of this whole entire squad, honestly, from things that I have been reading from Ryan Parrott in the past, that she truly is not afraid of anything, and it feels like she'll dive head first in it if it means defending herself and her friends. And again, I think even the action in this episode really does prove that. But I'm really enjoying what Trini is continuing to get this quiet confidence about herself, and I really love the way that she's holding herself to honestly as well. But outside of that, this issue is really all about tone and atmosphere and vibe that Ryan just puts into it. You know, one of the things that I've always said, like, as much as when it comes, especially when it comes to movies, as much as I love movies that have to deal with being in space, I never feel like anything good ever happens in space, right? Like, I always feel like the most tragic thing happens, the most horrid thing happens, right? Like, space is just dangerous. Like, I feel like if you die in space, it's always this traumatic and horrible way. It's never like, oh, you know, we were circling Saturn for a couple of days, you know, in our spaceship, and Bob just happened to fall asleep and pass away in his sleep so peacefully. No, usually it's the case of, oh, he got sucked out of the airlock, it depressurized the whole thing, the spaceship crumpled, and Bob's body just flew into space and froze and blasted into a million pieces. Like, that's usually how space deaths happen. Like, nothing good happens in space, guys. It just does not. So the fact that Ryan uses that to automatically, like, shut down all the lights on their spaceship, like, boom, like, oh crap, everybody's in the dark, right? And even to highlight this, I love the art style, especially whoever was the inker and did all the color and stuff, really muted a lot of the very bold colors that we've kind of seen in last week's episode. Things are a lot more muted, a lot darker, if you will, to kind of really add that vibe and tone to it of just a really creepy, dark spaceship, if you will. And we wind up coming across brand new aliens in here called the Horrid, which Zach kind of jokes to them as like space vampires, but that's really what I see them as. A little bit difficult for our Rangers to kind of handle. I don't know how they're going to take care of this, but these vampires clearly have the ability to phase in and out if they want to, so it's very difficult to kind of hit them, right? You see our Rangers slashing right through them, if you will, but they're clearly tangible enough to grab a hold of you. I mean, we see them tearing apart some of the Rangers' costumes, the helmets and things like that also, and they also have this ability to draw life from you. Now, whether that's like just your essence, your soul, whatever the case may be, they do have a way of kind of zapping that from you. And there's a really great illustration of that from Francisco Mortarino. When one of the space vampires, the head of the Horde, if you will, is trying to suck the life out of Drakkon himself before Drakkon clearly is the odd man out and betrays everybody by saying, hey, you want more life? I know some people that can kind of give you more life. You want universe, you want a galaxy at your disposal. I can definitely do that for you. I mean, talk about being a bee, right? Like, just all of a sudden crumpling to this more powerful entity just to protect yourself and make sure that you survive, sort of thing. Leave it up to Drakkon to pull one of those cowardly acts, if you will. But I don't really know how our Omega Rangers are going to get out of this, but I did think Ryan Parrott's, if you ask me, his storytelling did do a fantastic job of being able to create sort of this space horror element, and also continuing along with this great storyline of Jason and some of his decision makings and really what the outcome is going to be between him, Zordon, and the rest of the Mighty Morphin team. So we'll see what happens here, guys. But overall, a solid issue, nothing over the top or crazy, but this issue definitely had a great vibe to it that I was certainly enjoying, ladies and gentlemen. But listen, these are just my A+ opinions, but at the end of the day, I definitely want to go ahead and know yours, so please let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, these certainly will be available for you first patrons, so thank you very much again for your continued support. By becoming a patron, you do allow us to be able to make more videos, more content, add production value, and continue to grow as a company. So thank you very much for your continued support, and then eventually this will become available to the public for everybody else to certainly enjoy. But thank you very much for your time, guys. Listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, do yourselves a favor, hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Especially if you love our content, definitely go ahead and hit that like button as well, so YouTube can certainly recognize our work and recommend it to other people. And if you want to follow us on social media, we're going to be right here at aplusopinions. You can find us mostly on our Facebook page, which is our main hub. We're also very active on Twitter, and you can reach us also on Instagram as well as Twitch as well for you gamers out there. But other than that, that will do it for me here today. So thank you very much for your time. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. May the power protect you, and of course, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.